Welcome to Coding Newton. I'm Newton, and today we are kicking off an exciting coding challenge where we'll be solving 3 problems a day from HackerRank, LeetCode, and Codeforces. For today's episode, we'll start with HackerRank's basics problems and break them down step by step. I'll also guide you on how to approach coding problems effectively so that you can solve them faster and with confidence. So grab your keyboard and let's dive right into it. Now, before solving the problems, there are 4 key things you need to take note of. You need to first of all read and understand the problems carefully. So mostly with HackerRank, the questions are going to be on the left-hand side and the solution is expected to be provided at the right-hand side. So don't rush. Carefully read the entire problem description carefully. Identify the input that is given and what output is expected from you. Look for special conditions or constraints that might affect your solution. Next step is break down the problems into steps. Think of a step-by-step approach to solve the problems. Consider different cases, in this case small numbers, large numbers, or edge cases. Write down your thoughts process in plain English or pseudocode. Then after doing this, you need to choose the best approach and optimize. Identify the simplest way to solve the problems first. If needed, optimize your approach to reduce complexity and runtime. Once you are done writing this, then you can start the code. After writing the code, you can run the code to see if you meet all the requirements. And after that, if it's accepted, you can then submit your code for review and you will be given the desired output, whether it is accepted or it is not. So let's get right into this. So this is the sample problem that we have been given. Here is a sample line of code that can be executed in Python. We are expected to print the hello world phrase. So the hello world phrase is what is required of us. They kept on giving us more information by saying you can as easily store a string as a variable and then print it out. So we can also store the hello world phrase into a variable and then print that out also. So there are 2 different approaches which I'm going to show you in solving this problem. So first of all, we can just print the hello world phrase. So let's get into it. So hello world. So this is one approach. We can run it to see if truly it's correct. So we need to type exactly, make sure it's exactly what we are providing. So hello world. Then let's run this. Woo. So our first solution is accepted. We are just asked to print the phrase hello world using the Python print function. Then the next approach too can be, so let me just get rid of this, or let me just comment this out. So I've commented this out. The next approach is we can store the phrase, the hello world phrase, in a variable. Then after that, we can then print it out. So let's use, for example, my string equals, then we give the phrase, which is the hello world phrase, Then once we are done, we can use the Python print function to print out the variable. So print, then we have my string. Yeah. So we have the my string there. We can also run that to see if truly this solution is accepted. Great. So this solution also is accepted. Now we can submit. So let's see. So we have submitted. Let's wait for them. Great. So congratulations, you solved this challenge. Great. So our solution was accepted. We can then move on to the next challenge. So this also is the next challenge, and we need to read carefully and understand the questions very well. So using the steps, let's understand the problem. So the first thing is we are being given an integer. So given an integer n, perform the following conditional actions. If n is odd, we are to print weird. If n is even and in the inclusive range of 2 to 5, we are to print not weird. And if n is even and an inclusive range of 6 to 20, we are to print weird. And if n is even and greater than 20, we are to print not weird. So let's first of all consider let's write that our thought clearly down. So let's break down the logics. So if n, let me comment it out. If n actually is odd, so if n is odd, it means we are to print what? We are to, if n is odd, we are to print weird, right? Yes, we are to print weird. Then let's go on to the next approach. If n is even, if n is even, these are some of the conditions we have to take note of. If n is even, if n is even and it's in this range, so this range is telling us that if it's in a range of 2 to 5, 2 to 5, so meaning 2 is inclusive. It was stated there clearly. So 2, we have 2. We can use the less than or equal to n, less than or equal to, where n2 is less than or equal to 5. You get it? So if n is, if 2, sorry, if 2 is less than or equal to n, and n is also less than or equal to 5, then we can print not weird. We can print not weird also here. We can print not weird. Then we go on to the next condition. The next condition too is n is given n in the inclusive range of 6 to 20. So just similar to the first logic. So 6, then we have 6 is less than or equal to n, and n is less than or equal to 20. This one we have to print. We have to print weird. We have to print weird. Then we go to the final one. So the final one is if n is even and is greater than 20. So we have n is what? Greater than 20. Let me comment it out. N is greater than 20. We have to print not weird, right? Yeah, we have to print not weird. We have to print not weird. Sorry. Yeah, we have to print not weird. So we now have clearly our logics listed down. So we are now going to start the main code. So let me first of all explain the various codes that had already been listed there. So over here, we have been given n. N is already defined here for us, and n is an integer, and we are expected to take an input from the user. And the step, this one here means that it's supposed to take off all empty spaces. It's supposed to take off all empty spaces, so you just don't need to worry about this. So we can just continue with whatever thing that we are to do. So we now have our logics. We don't need to worry. We can use the conditional statement. We can use the if conditions to easily solve this challenge. So if we can start, since we have the logics, if n modulo. So I'll explain what the modulo actually means. Modulo 1. So what it means is we are looking at a situation whereby n being an integer, whereby when it's divided, whereby the number is being divided by 2, the remainder is equal to 1. You get it? When the integer is divided by 2, the remainder is equal to 1. Then it means it's not an even number. It becomes an even number only when the integer is divided by 2 and the result is equal to 0. So for example, if we have, let's say, when the number is an even number and we divide that even number by 2, we are supposed to get what? 0 as the remainder. So if the integer is divided by 2 and we are getting a remainder of 1, it means it is an odd number, right? So let's get into it. Once this is done, we then have, we are supposed to print weird, because in this case That's what we are expected since it is an odd number. Then we use the else if condition. Then that one also, since we are going to be using the next logic, which is 2, we already have the whole thing written there. So 2 is less than or equal to n, where n is less than or equal to 5, right? Then that one also we get to print not weird. We get to print not weird. Then we go to the next condition. We can as well use the else if. Then that one also we have when 6, just like similar one, 6 less than or equal to n, where n is less than or equal to 20. Sorry, less than or equal to 20. We can then print, weird, right? Yes, we can then print weird. Then we go back. We can then, now that is, we are left with only the last condition, where the last condition is. N is what? Oh, sorry, because here they didn't give us any inclusive, so we are not supposed to include the equal to sign here. So when n is greater than 20, we're given that n is an even and greater than 20, we have to print not weird. So we can just use the else condition. Then we can then print just not weird, right? Well, so we are done solving this challenge. Let's run to see if truly we have met the requirement and this is the right approach in solving it. Whoo! So congratulations, our solution was able to pass all the sample test cases. Let's submit to see if it will be accepted. Great. So we're able to pass all the cases, and that is fantastic. That is fantastic. So we have passed, we have earned our first 10 point. Congratulations. If you have stayed with me to this far, congratulations to you. You have earned your first 10 points. Now let's hop on to the next challenge. Okay, so this is the third challenge. So first of all, let's use our approach. Let's first of all understand the problems. After that, we will break down the logic. After breaking down the logic, we write our code. After writing the code, then we will test it. So let's get right into it. So this is the question. The provided code reads two integers. So it reads two integers from a user, in this case, A and B. And we have to add code to print 3 lines where the first line contains the sum of the two numbers. The second line contains the difference of the two numbers. In this case, they want the first number minus the second number. Then the third line should contain the word product of the two numbers. And in this case, we are giving an example. If A equals to 3, B equals to 5, we are expected to receive this, where the first one, since A plus B, this is 3 plus 5, supposed to give us 8. If we are having the 3 minus 5, we are supposed to get what? Minus 2. If we are having the 3 times 5, we are supposed to get what? 15. So that is what the problem is saying. We are supposed to write down our logic. So let's break down the logic here. So the first line, let's first of all go here and comment everything. So we have the first line is supposed to contain the sum. And we know in Python, sum, we just use the normal addition symbol. So we have A plus B. So this is the sum. This is the sum. Then we can go the next one, which is what? The next one, we are supposed to have the difference, which is what? The first minus the second number. So first A minus B. So this is the difference. So this is the difference. Then the third line should contain the product. And we know in Python, the product is always asterisk. So we can use the asterisk symbol over here. Then this is the product. So now that we have our logics written down, we can now just start coding. This is a very simple problem. So they have already given us some pre-input whereby they are, the what is expected from the user should be an integer. We are expecting an integer from the user, so we don't need to convert anything else. Everything has been done for us. So we then go to the challenge. I'm going to show you at least a bit detailed approach in doing this, where we are going to use another, we are going to create our own variables so that that variable is going to do the whole thing for us. So this case, let's go. We can start with sum. For instead of sum, let's use the let's say C. Yes, use for example C. C should be equal to A plus B, right? C is A plus B. Then at the end, A plus B. Sorry, what am I getting? Then we should print, let's print out C, right? All that we are doing, we are just storing, instead of just doing it print A plus B, we are creating another variable which is C. So C is storing the A plus B inside for us. So in this case, we only print what? C. Then the next approach, we can have E, for instance. E equals, you can use anything, but I just want to use characters or letters. Yes, I just want to use letters to just illustrate what I am doing. So E equals A minus B. Then we get to print E, right? Then the next, we can have F, right? Just to make things simpler for myself, equals B times B, sorry, times B. Then I get to print F. So I'm done with this approach. Let's run to see if truly this is what was expected of us. So let's run to see. Whew. So our solution is actually accepted. Our solution is accepted. So let me go back to it. In case maybe we could have just done it straightforward. Instead of using this, we could have just done the A plus B in here, A plus B. Then we could have again gone to this side to do the A minus B, sorry, A minus B. Then over here we could have just done the A times B, right? Then let's run this one also to see. Oh, this one too is accepted. So anywhere you go, it's accepted. I'll try as much as possible to explain in the next episodes the best approach to use and the best naming to use in order to optimize. Look, let's take this into consideration. At the end of the day, we are not only looking for solution, we are looking at the best approach to use in terms of our memory and also the runtime. So let's submit this code. In the next episode, I'll try as much as possible to explain everything for us to understand. So if you have stayed with us to this point, you're fantastic, you're a winner, and I hope to see you in the next episode. Then don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that notification button so that whenever new episode is uploaded, you will be notified and you will get to hear more. So let's take some key lessons for today. So always read the problems carefully and identify the input and output. Break down the problem solution before coding. Test with sample input to ensure correctness. What next? We move on to LeetCode problems. So stay tuned for that. If you found this helpful, as I've already said, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and drop a comment with your thought. Let's keep growing together in this coding journey. Until next time, keep coding, stay curious, and never stop learning. See you in the next episode. Bye.